the Chase Thomas Podcast. For people who have nothing but time to kill.
Would be the correct answer. And, it's highlighted in every color and probably is the only correct answer, truthfully. Because when you look at the list, like, people were calling for Glen Elarbee's head 2 years ago. Kelsey Pope, his wide receiver room is depleted. You have no idea what they're going to look like. William Inge has been really good, but he's newer, so I don't think you can really count him. Besides the previous 2 years, the people have wanted to take Willie Martinez out as well and fire him. So, I mean, you go down the list, and it's like, and then obviously Sims, I would also put in the category as newer. Rodney Garner is the only coach where I think if you ask a Tennessee fan, they don't have complaints. Like, yeah, maybe he lost Tyler Barron to the portal, but he would tell you that was a good decision. And that he made that for the culture of the room. But he's consistently producing draft picks. The defensive line has been a consistent unit. They recruit well. You know what you're going to get out of that group, usually week in and week out, which for this Tennessee football team hasn't been the case for many position groups. So honestly, I would be curious if you polled Tennessee fans, their thoughts on Rodney Garner, what the complaint would be. Because when you compare him to all the coaches on the coaching staff, I would say, he's kind of got the best record both at Tennessee and his previous stops, and it's consistent. And that's what you need from your position groups is you need to know what you're going to get so that way you can build the team around it. And I think the defensive line has been proven, and you know exactly what you're getting out of those guys.
Yeah, I figured, Griffin, you have Rodney Garner too for this answer.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure. I think Caleb alluded to so many great points, and I think the amount of guys that he has had shoot up draft boards or that have made an impact at the next level, or that like an Omar Norman Lott that has come in, he was great at Tennessee and then he goes in the second round, or the amount of guys that he's stacked on that defensive line and the way they've been successful. Like Caleb said, he's had a good track record. He's done really well, and he's been in the SEC for 34 years or something like that. Like, he knows this conference. He knows SEC football. He's been around. And so I think, like Caleb said, it's the guy with the least amount of complaints if you would ask the fans. And a lot of guys are either young or people have called for their heads. So it's a tricky question for sure.
Can I give a live reaction? I just did a live fist bump here.
I saw it.
Braden Rouse commits to Tennessee over Texas. The very end here. Live commitment. 4-star linebacker out of Cal.
Wow.
They close with Braden Rouse over Texas. William Inge. Have yourself a cycle. Back-to-back years. William Inge. Only blue chip you. TJ White. Braden Rouse. Jaden Harmon. Christian Gass. Jaden Perlotti. Brandon Ains in 2 years. Man. William Inge. What a hire. Co-DC on a national champion runner-up, and now he's just linebackers coach and just putting on a clinic here. Braden Rouse, fantastic stuff. Sorry, that was derailing, but it went live at 7:00, and I've been waiting on this all day long. And just that was huge because it was. I don't know if y'all are locked in on what's been going on here, but this has been a super tight one down to Tennessee and Texas. And whenever you can beat Texas or Georgia or Alabama for some big time commits, these are big boy battles, and the defense is doing its job. But Alex, is it Rodney Garner for you, or is it somebody else?
It is, and like Caleb said, I think that's the only answer. I think when you mix his experience and that consistency, like Caleb and Griffin have said, he's been consistent everywhere that he's been. You look at the guys he's produced. Byron Young, he's one of the best, pressure guys in the NFL right now, and James Pierce Jr., Norman Lott. The list goes on for the amount of really high-profile guys that he has produced to the NFL, and I think he'll keep doing that. And like Caleb mentioned as well, for consistency, it's been, kind of something that's been up in the air for the other position groups. So I think, having, and especially D-line, you got to have that physical and consistent D-line in the SEC if you want to compete. And I think that's why Tennessee has been, successful for the most part in the past few years here.
I will say it's Rodney Garner, but I think Glen Elarbee, there's two different schools of thought here. And I've gone to bat for Glen Elarbee the last 4 years. Glen Elarbee is a very good offensive line coach. You can have issues with Glen Elarbee's high school evaluations to this point because he hasn't had one of his high school guys pan out to this point. I don't think many schools would be able to have Gerald Mincy and J.J. Crawford be able to handle left tackle duties against Alabama in Neyland Stadium in 2022 and not miss a beat. JJ Crawford, I think, was one of the 5 highest graded Tennessee offensive players in 2021. He's a big part of the run game coordination. You ran for 5 yards to carry all 4 years under Heupel. He's a big reason why Tennessee runs the ball extremely well. They pull guards. They do fun stuff like on offense. The offensive line functions really well. He's had a lot of different guys. He got Darnell Wright to the first round, number 10 overall pick. That was a big part of what Glen Elarbee and his staff did. You can have issues with Glen Elarbee's high school to this point evaluations, but I do think he's at least going to have 2 high school guys start this year. But he maximizes what he has. Last year was injuries. Like John Campbell and Dane Davis just couldn't stay on the field. And there were some issues at right tackle. Larry Johnson turned into another success story. Larry Johnson was, another JUCO guy that they brought in. That was a good talent evaluation. He grows and was okay for Tennessee last year. And now he's going to start for Colorado. Like he flipped it into starting at another big time program. And Glen Elarbee knows what he's doing. Like Glen Elarbee is good at this. I just think it's one of those where you really want him to start start developing some of these blue chip guys that he's bringing in. I understand that, but Glen Elarbee is good at his job. Like I don't think there's any question that Glen Elarbee is a good offensive line coach and a good running game coordinator.
I'm not sold.
I think
the system masks a lot of issues on the offensive line, and I think you saw that, the past couple of years. Lance Hurd came through in the transfer portal, was a 5-star prospect, couldn't play at LSU because he was behind another 5-star prospect, transfers to Tennessee, and then he was a rotating door at tackle, letting anybody through. The system makes the offensive line look a lot easier, and this is a big test for what you think, Chase, because he will have high school guys starting. And you mentioned Darnell Wright. He didn't recruit Darnell Wright. That was a Pruitt guy. I'm saying
he developed him. Like Darnell Wright was not a first round guy his first 2 years into Pruitt. Like he evolved under Glen Elarbee. Like he broke out because of Glen Elarbee.
Okay. He started as a freshman.
Yeah, he wasn't good. His first year at Tennessee wasn't good. His second year, he graded out worse actually in 2021 than Lance Hurd did in 2024 for Tennessee. Lance Hurd actually had a better PFF grade last year than Darnell Wright did his first year at Tennessee, or first year under Glen Elarbee in 21.
I don't know. This will be a big test. I'm not sold on the offensive line. It's been rough. You've been blessed with Cooper Mays.
They don't have a sack problem? When have you, outside of the Georgia game in 22, when has it been like, what are we going to do about this offensive line?
I know Nico is not like a good topic for Tennessee fans. His dad was literally threatening to leave. Obviously, he left anyway. But one of the threats of him leaving Tennessee was the simple fact that his son had 3 concussions last year. He broke a helmet.
But that wasn't the offensive line. The offensive line was fine outside of the tackle spot, and they went 12 personnel. You went to Miles Kitselman and company. Like they were fine.
Why did they have to go to 12 personnel, Chase?
Because Lance Hurd was getting up to speed late, but I'm saying John Campbell, right tackle spot last year was the first time the tackles have been bad in the 4 years under Glen Elarbee. First time.
Yeah, and it's the system masks a lot of the problems. Under Hendon Hooker, the ball was out like that. And then you get Joe Milton in there, and he can't read the field. And then he's trying to throw it 100 yards down the field. He's getting hit as well. He's trying to run out of the pocket. The system makes it easy on the offensive line. To run block, you have a light box every time you want to run the ball. Okay, so obviously the offensive line should be able to. It's hat on hat. Football's a numbers game. You're gonna have 5 offensive linemen blocking 5 guys. That should work. So that's why the run game works, because the box is never loaded. And then you had to go 12 personnel last year because the offensive line wasn't very good. And then this year he's gonna have to start his high school guys. So will they play? Will they not? I don't know. You saw it in the spring game. It's still iffy. They were Lance Hurd jumped started more than any offensive lineman I think I've watched in my life. And he was a 5-star prospect that came in through the transfer portal. Yes, he was hurt. Everybody's going to tell you he was hurt. But still, I can't be sold on the offensive line. And people yearly ask Glen Elarbee, why Heupel is extending Glen Elarbee. You have options. I know not you, Chase. You might be the only Glen Elarbee defender out there. You should get a shirt.
There are dozens of us. Dozens. I have to do this with Tim Banks with Shump because Shump is just he has a blind spot for Tim Banks, and you have a blind spot for Glen Elarbee, unfortunately, Caleb. I'm trying to fix all
Tim
these.
Banks is fine.
He's great. There's only one issue right now in the assistant coaching side of things. I don't know if y'all agree. It's wide receiver right now. That's it. It's the Kelsey Pope spot to me, where he's recruited extremely well. They didn't handle the transfer portal well at all this cycle, but I mean, this is a huge evaluation year for him. Like, everyone's looking at Elarbee. I'm like, Kelsey's going to start 2 of his own guys. Like, Braylon and Mike have to perform this year. Like, you didn't go out and get a stopgap receiver to help and bridge the gap here. You were betting on your retention and these 2 guys breaking out. They can, but this is a gigantic evaluation year for Kelsey Pope and his guys, because, like, look, they just have to perform. Like, you have 6 of your 7 guys are all underclassmen. You have 1 upperclassman. That's it. And he was a transfer. And Chris Brazel. Like, this is a young group, and it's all guys that Kelsey identified. And the passing game has been rough. Last year was the worst wide receiver lineup outside of Dante they've had in all 4 years in the Heupel era. It just can't go wrong like that again. You can't have just so many issues where sometimes, like, go back and watch the Kentucky game against Tennessee last year. Nico should have had 400 yards and 4 TDs in that game. There were 2 drop touchdowns in that game, one by Nimrod and one by, I guess, was it Brazel, if I remember correctly? One that would have ended up going for 6. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the one to me where I just think it's a huge evaluation year for him. And yeah, you've recruited well, but man, he's got to hit. Like, we got to get back on track here in the passing game, where Tennessee is just kind of going to be stuck in the mud offensively.
I'll throw it right back. I'll throw it right back at you, though. I mean, he's put Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt in the league. Same Glen Elarbee. If he didn't recruit either of those guys, Glen Elarbee didn't recruit Darnell Wright. They're in the league. Who has Glen Elarbee hit on as a high school recruit? You said Kelsey Pope has to hit. Glen Elarbee hasn't hit on anybody yet.
But Kelsey, hold on. But I will say,
and maybe the passing game would have been a little bit better last year if the offensive line was consistent and your quarterback was not concussed.
Alex Griffin saved me, because this is turning into a back. Like, Caleb and I, like, this is turning into a Monday afternoon at the Chase here. Caleb's not letting this go.
Here's the thing, Chase. Oh, go ahead, Griffin. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, all I know now is that I need to consistently pop some popcorn about 12:55 on Monday afternoons, because this is a boatload of fun. And I think both Kelsey Pope and Glen Elarbee have to play their own guys this year, and it'll be a big test for both of those guys heading into this year, because that's what I hear from both parties. Sarkis?
Well, I will preface my last topic, my confusing loss of the Heupel era, by saying that I have an O-line dig in there, but I'm not going to spoil it right now. I'm gonna save it for the end.
Ooh. Let's just go there. Let's flip to it. Like, Alex, let's flip to that one now. It doesn't have to be in that order. Let's go to this one.
Good segue.
Yeah. So maybe I should host now. I'm just kidding.
Everyone's taking my job. Like, everyone on the Monday night show, the Vols Sports guys, they take that, and then we've got Caleb taking the Daily Show. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just along for the ride. I don't know. Alex, it's your show now. You can go.
So for my most confusing loss of the Heupel era, I'm going to go with Arkansas last year. But I think one of the more surprising things was the O-line allowed 4 sacks in that game. And you look at the final score, Tennessee only
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.